Can you hear it? Can you smell it? Ah, yes. The baseball home stretch has finally arrived. While most contenders spend the dog days of summer kicking it into another gear and leaving the pretenders and the see you next years in the dust, one team has emerged from the shadows of mediocrity and have done the unthinkable as they've steamrolled their way back into contention. And that team? The New York Mets. By the way, everyone, we are getting close to 500 subscribers. For all of you who have joined our little baseball community, and to those who are visiting my channel for the very first time, all I can humbly say is thank you. Your support is truly appreciated. So if you guys like this video, please drop a like below and a follow as well if you're new here so we can continue growing this baseball community together. The Mets season has been a case of Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde. Then Dr. Jekyll again, then back to Mr. Hyde. Well, you get the idea. Early in the summer, the Kings of Queens were failing to live up to the hefty expectations of being the team with the highest payroll in all of baseball, even above the likes of their crosstown neighbors, the New York Yankees, and the evil empire out west, the Los Angeles Dodgers. On June 2nd, after winning just 10 of their previous 30 games, and just one series in the entire month of May, New York dropped to a season-low 11 games under 500. Their 24-35 record was a culmination of everything that had gone wrong up until that point, as stars like Francisco Lindor and Brandon Nimmo had failed to live up to their hefty contracts, while the shine of their young players, Brett Baty in particular, was starting to fade. As the days of June passed and June 11 arrived, the Mets, still 9 games under 500, fell to a whopping 17.5 games behind the Phillies in the NL East standings. But then, just a day later on June 12th, a savior came to the rescue. An unlikely hero that would save the Mets season and help them begin their climb back to relevancy. And that hero is none other than Grimace. And no,
I'm not crazy. My mother had me tested.
Okay, maybe a little. But don't tell my mother. All jokes aside though, on that day the Mets began their first significant winning streak of the season as they beat the Marlins to start a 7-game winning streak that helped them eventually climb back up to a more than respectable 35-37 record and just 2 games under 500. While some may call it the Grimace effect or the theory of Grimace, who's to know? The purple fellow works in mysterious ways. In reality though, it was some shrewd moves during the team's dreadful May that kickstarted their eventual mid-June revival. For starters, the decision to recall former prospect Mark Vientos to replace the scuffling Brett Baty brought some much-needed offensive production to the hot corner. At the time of Vientos' call-up on May 15th, Baty was hitting a paltry .230 with just 3 home runs and 13 RBI in 126 at-bats. Meanwhile in AAA Syracuse, Vientos was more than pacing him, hitting .285 with 6 home runs and 30 RBI. 3 months later, and Vientos is currently hitting .278 with 24 home runs, 62 RBI, and a 146 OPS+. Another shrewd move was manager Carlos Mendoza's decision to move Francisco Lindor up to the leadoff role from his usual 3 spot of the lineup. Prior to the shakeup on May 18th, the Mets were getting a .213 batting average and a 743 OPS for the leadoff position, while Lindor himself was hitting under the Mendoza line. No, not his manager. Batting just .195 with 7 home runs, 21 RBI to go along with a 630 OPS. Since the move though, and as of the time of this recording, Lindor has hit .299 with 23 home runs, 30 doubles, 63 RBI, and a 910 OPS. For the season as a whole, the switch-hitting shortstop is batting .269 with 30 home runs, 38 doubles, 84 RBI, and a 134 OPS+. The acquisition of backup catcher Luis Torrens from the Yankees in the absence of Francisco Alvarez, as well as the decision to call up veteran infielder Jose Iglesias, also proved fundamental to the Mets' turnaround as the two shored up the team's shaky defense. Starting off with Torrens, prior to his arrival, Omar Narvaez had proven to be a rather underwhelming replacement for the injured Alvarez, being a proverbial turnstile behind the plate, with 33 successful steals against him in 35 attempts, resulting in a laughable 6% caught stealing rate, while being a near automatic out at the plate, batting just .154 with 5 RBI and an OPS plus of 9. Yes, I said 9. Now I don't know about you, but I didn't even know OPS plus could fall into single digits. With Torrens behind the plate, those stealing numbers dropped tenfold, with runners going just 7 for 19, that's a measly 37% stealing success rate, while getting some actual production from the catching position in the absence of Alvarez, as Torrens has hit a more respectable .257 with 3 home runs and 15 RBI. Meanwhile, Jose Iglesias brought some much needed consistency on both offense and defense to the keystone position, especially with McNeil having a down year, eventually becoming the usual double play partner for the equally slick fielding Lindor. And lest we forget, their pitching in the second half has also been a catalyst in their huge turnaround. Case in point, their post-All-Star break 3.46 team ERA currently ranks 5th in the majors, compared to their 22nd ranked 4.23 team ERA in the first half. Having bounced back seasons from the likes of Sean Manaea and Luis Severino, who both signed one-year prove-it deals during the offseason, have certainly helped, while the continued development of David Peterson and the contributions of bullpen arms like Danny Young and Jose Butto have proven important, as they have helped the Mets find success despite the offseason injury to ace Kodai Senga and the early season struggles of closer Edwin Diaz. But are these Mets for real? Are they true contenders, or just another of the bunch that will make an early round exit, if they even make the playoffs at all? Well, some stats say contenders, others not so much. While teams like San Diego and Arizona have dominated the headlines during much of the second half, as up until recently, they won seemingly almost every night, it has been the Mets that have quietly steamrolled their way back into contention, owning the 4th best record in the majors since the All-Star break, and the only of those 4 teams not residing in the NL West. That is quite impressive. But while their pitching and defense have led their climb up the standings, it does stand to question whether their offensive woes will ultimately have them come up short of an October run. For example, looking at the lineup 1 through 9, only Lindor and Vientos are hitting over .250 amongst everyday starters. The team also ranks around the middle of the pack in both batting average and OPS in the second half. I know batting average isn't everything, but OPS kind of is. And while the likes of the polar bear Pete Alonso has cranked out 31 home runs and 79 RBI, leading them to being 7th ranked in home runs since the All-Star break, the offense also ranks 4th in strikeouts in the same time span. Even with all their wins over the last couple of months, they just haven't hit enough. With all that said though, this team has used their intangibles to find ways to win despite their aforementioned subpar offense, rallying around each other and picking up one another, as they currently sit tied for 3rd in the wildcard standings. Their team chemistry and cohesion is undeniable, and is something that can, and so far has, helped them overcome some of their offensive shortcomings. As such, and because of their great pitching and defense, it would be a disservice to not call them real contenders. Will these Mets make the playoffs? Perhaps. Can they make a deep run? Possibly. Will it be a surprise if they win it all? Not in the least bit. Thank you so much for watching. I'd love to hear your thoughts and opinions on my thoughts and opinions in the comments below. If you guys enjoyed the video, please don't forget to hit the like button below and subscribe so you don't miss any of my new content. I'm TK, and I'll catch you all next time here on the Baseball Blues.